Welcome to the Underground Sound, episode 25, as it were. This is going to be our Synthwave special. With me, as always, is Carlos Fandango and a gentleman known as a Smart Monkey. Together, we are putting us back into music.
So please do like, subscribe, and share, and we'll find the music that you love to hear.
And don't forget to click on the little bell so that you get all the notifications as and when Tom uploads any Underground Sound videos.
There you have it. And by all means, visit the video description below and find the links to all these fantastic artists that we're going to hear today. Not only that, but just a little bit earlier, we did an interview with a gentleman named Ranjit. We did a review of his song on episode 22, which was called Kristen. So that will be in the links below. I do obviously want to thank our show sponsor today, Nathan Brashear of Monsters Are Real. Thank you, brother, for sponsoring the show yet again. And I really, really want to say thank you for the belief in the show and continuing to sponsor the show here, so that way we can get the word out on all these fantastic musicians. So please visit once again the video description below, find the links to our show sponsor, the interview with Ranjit, and all the artists that we're going to listen to today. And please also visit our website, usundergroundsound.com. You will have access to our Spotify playlist there, and the radio station. I promise will be up shortly whenever Smart Monkey and Carlos Fandango decide to do some radio promos. But as far as today is concerned, once again, our Synthwave special, and track one I see here, we have Valentin Mayr, or Mayer, possibly. The song's name is Escape. Carlos, what can you tell me about the song?
Okay, so Valentin is from Berlin in sunny old Deutschland. So in Germany, he says, ahead is just the skyline. I see freckles on your skin, and we're driving over the end of every road. So basically, he does dreamy electro-pop that wants you to escape from everyday life. Berlin-based musician and producer that mixes electronic pop music with elements of funk, soul, and indie. Made for daydreamers, dance monkeys, oh, there you, Rob, as well as smart monkeys, travelers, lovers, musicians, lazy couch potatoes, oh, and it goes on. But basically, I think you might enjoy this one, which is called Escape.
Well, here we go. Escape, dreamy indie electro pop by Valentin Mayr. Let's check it out.
And I wanna be free.
That was Escape, dreamy indie electropop, Valentin Mayr. Smart Monkey, what'd you think?
Yeah, good opener. It is a dreamy bit of electro pop. I love the way that the intro built with that building bass, you know, so straight away we're going in and this bass slowly leads you into the track, and then consistently drives it onwards from there. You can hear a lot of filters going on in there, a lot of reverbs and delay to get that dreaminess to come through, and it works. It gives it that real kind of dreamy vibe that he talks about. His vocals are really good. They're that higher end of vocals, that kind of meeker, almost sometimes Coldplay. But you know, Coldplay tends to be that little bit more sort of he's got a more pure high vocal than a Coldplay. But there were bits where I felt Coldplay elements were there. Very good production qualities again. Or you know, on my setup, sounding really good, really polished. Every sound, every instrument is sitting in its right place, and the vocal sits on it nicely. You know, nothing's getting swamped, nothing's getting drowned. In fact, you know, so much so that this is almost ready, commercially ready. You know, you could put this up on a proper commercial platform, and it's ready to go, in my mind. But yeah, nice polished track.
Is it ready to go, Carlos Fandango?
I think so. Yeah, it's certainly got. I mean, I've written down the same sort of comments. Really, I mean, it's got. I think the Coldplay element you can really hear in the guitar and the electro bass sort of groove of the song. You've got that Chance of a Lifetime sort of vibe to it. Obviously, that was more upbeat, Chance of a Lifetime, than this one, but it was more like a laid-back version of the Coldplay, going funky. But a bit of sort of Daft Punk feel at the start, perhaps, with the sort of funkiness of it and the groove. Bit of the vocals, I was thinking, I think you've got it right there. It's a kind of melding of different vocals, because it's not as strong as Chris what's his face's Coldplay vocals, but Chris Martin's Coldplay. But I've got Philip Bailey, Earth, Wind and Fire. It's that kind of Earth, Wind and Fire groove, sort of slightly retro, but a good groove. A bit of a chilled clubby vibe, but it's certainly a bit of a head bobber, because if you were sitting there and this was in the background, yeah, we were all sort of bobbing our heads a little bit there to that one. So ebb and flow factor, ENF factor of about 7 to 7.5, I say that one, because it didn't massively ebb and flow, but it kind of did do the sort of stoppy start thing whilst maintaining the general groove of the song. Yeah, I like that one. It's good. It's just got a nice feel.
I think it was clever. Kind of had if you saw the comment there, kind of had like a weekendy kind of vibe to it. Maybe a little bit of Daft Punk in there as well. So The Weeknd and Daft Punk had actually done this song called Starboy together. Starboy was a pretty good song, all things considered. So it kind of felt like that to me. I guess the quote unquote issue that I had with this one is it kind of like sounded pretty repetitive. Mm-hmm. It didn't really seem to build anywhere. So I'm kind of confused as to your ENF factor of 7.0 to 7.5 because it didn't really seem like there was a kind of a build to a climax and then kind of like moving away from that. So I like the production though. The production seems, you know, pretty up there. I think that this was done rather professionally. But yeah, I don't know if this is a song that I would like kind of consider like playlisted. You know what I mean? I think we have certain songs like that are just kind of like one and done, and that one just kind of like seems like that song for me. It's like if it came on the radio again, right? Like if I did have it on a playlist, if it came on, I wouldn't skip it or turn it off or anything like that. But it's not one that I would save specifically to, like, let's say like the indie underground kind of playlist that, you know, that we generally have on the show here. So Just my two.
I may be wrong on the EMF factor. I may have overscored it slightly. I take the point, and I think I agree with you because it was more about the groove. I think you're right. I think it could do with a lot more detail. If it had more detail and interest and maybe a change or something that's really distinctive, guitar, solo sound, anything just to make it more distinctive, yes, then in that case, it would probably be more radio friendly and more ready for the wider audience. But it wasn't a bad song. It was had a good groove.
It was not a bad song. The way that I would envision this is let's say that we've been talking about this cigar episode forever, right? Mm-hmm. Which may come into fruition mid-July of this year here. So if we were kind of like in a cigar lounge and this was playing, it's not like I would dismiss a song as being like, let's say, obnoxious or not worthy of being played there or anything like that. I would definitely listen to it. I just think there's more work that could be done with it that could make it just a little bit more poppy.
Bit of variety in there.
Yeah,
fair enough.
It's interesting that because there'll be a theme, I think, to this show for me. But yeah, let's see what goes on.
What do you think is going to be your theme for the show?
A little bit of variety. I think that this is an electro special, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
So one thing that I find electronic music can do is fall into the trap of repeating itself a little bit. But we'll see.
You know what? You may be correct on that. Let's see how our producer Carlos Fandango did here today for episode 25. Our second song today is Giovanni Sabia with a song called Circle. Carlos Fandango, let us know what this is about.
Well, there's not a lot to tell about Giovanni, but is from Firenze, Italia. He says, I make sound for poetry in motion. He's looks like influences include, this could be interesting. So shared influences with me would be Miles Davis, the Beatles, John Williams, Ennio Morricone, David Bowie. Also, his influences include Frank Zappa, Beethoven, Nick Cave, Daft Punk, Green Day, Nirvana, Sinatra, Ludovico Einaudi, and many more. So it's a nice plethora of influences there. So that's good. And if I remember rightly, this song's called Circle, and it just says flow as the comment on the actual track itself.
Yes.
And my comment on it was saying it's not my normal cup of tea, however, and it goes on. So I shall
right.
See what you think.
I was just going to ask you about that because why are you putting a song into the episode that you start off as not my normal cup of tea?
Well, because when I find a track that just there's something that catches my ear, or I think, actually, I'm going to listen to it again, and maybe again, then it's not the usual sort of song I would actually go actively hunting for listening. But as with all these things, I look at things objectively, and even if I want to like a song particularly, I can see its merits. And if I can see merits that you might enjoy, audience might enjoy, then it gets chosen because it's got enough going for it.
There you go. Like. There you go, folks. From the proverbial horse's mouth, as it were. Let's check this one out. This is Giovanni. I'm not calling you a horse, Carl. It's just like I said.
Well, I don't mind. It could be a compliment.
Why the long face, Carl?
Hey. Oh, that's just nay good.
Let me put an end to the jokes real quick here. Giovanni Sabia with Circle. Let's check it out, folks. Smart Monkey. What say you, sir?
Well, interesting track, this one for me. It reminded me of Orbital and a bit of left field. Well, not a bit, quite a lot of left field in there actually. So we've got a good sort of retro vibe in the way that the song is constructed. But so let me start with the positives. I loved that bass and that beat that drives on through it. I love the way that the piano style keys, or electro piano style keys, sort of dance over the top of it, and how it evolves. This track evolves, but I've got a bit of a problem with this track in that the bass, obviously it's supposed to be the predominant feature, the bass and the beat, but they are a little bit too aggressive for me in this mix, and they're choking the other elements out. And I think what they were trying to achieve was that bass and that beat were the main thing, much like a left field track, actually, that it is the heart and soul of this song. But I think what they've got slightly wrong is that everything else gets choked, whether it's being over compressed or sidechained, or what the reasoning is on this. I'm not quite sure. So although I wanted to really like this song, it actually agitated me a little because there were things that were just getting too choked out. So I want to bounce my head around a lot, but then there was another part of me that's going. So, but actually, what I actually think is that's not a big deal, because all it really needs is just going back into the production of it and pulling a couple of little elements back, and that song, that track would then really work. So it's not a big deal, just irritating for me. So that's my thoughts anyway.
Oh boy, I have a feeling we're going on the Simon Cowell episode of episode 25 here. Thank you, Carlos Fandango. I was just giving you so much praise as a producer here. Carlos Fandango, explain yourself. Track 2.
Well, actually, as I say, it's not my normal cup of tea, because it reminded me, but there's something about that insistent thumping beat that comes in that reminded me a bit of the sort of Born Slippy Underworld sort of thing, with it. And that set against the plinky plonky piano keyboard sounds, I thought was really quite good, actually. The sort of juxtaposition, the deep bass synth driving it along. I really like that. I like the combination of variety of sounds. I like the way it develops. It's got a sort of 90s sort of rave quality to it, which wasn't my thing again, but all the same, I thought there was quite a bit going on there. I take on your point about the production. It could just have another mix, just a Smart Monkey mix, a DJX Tech mix, for instance, and see how they come out. But I actually there was something about the music that I found quite alluring. So I did actually listen to it 3 times running when I first heard it, and thought, what do I think of this? I'm not sure. And then I had to sort of listen to it 3 times to develop a bit of an opinion.
I think you're right. I don't want to discredit the track. And I think there's a number of occasions where we've done this, where we've gone, that artist should not be put off by what we say. It's more of just pull something back a little bit, just make it shine a little bit more. And maybe, on their speaker setup, they're not hearing it. But on mine, and maybe it's my speaker setup, I don't know. But for me, it just sounded a bit overwhelming for the rest of it, and it's just a little bit of minor adjustment. You still got a good track, so I think it's a good track. I do. It does remind me of left field, and it does remind me of you said about Born Slippy, and as you said that, I was like, oh yeah, it does have those elements, but it just needs a bit of polish. Tom, what do you think?
Well, it's not a bit of polish; it's a lot of polish.
Okay.
Here's the issue that I had with it is, segment 1 was segment 1, segment 2 was segment 2, segment 3 was segment 3, segment 4 was segment 4, right? So whereas you had the cymbals and the hi-hats going in section 1, you didn't have them in section 2, and they cut off very abruptly. So there wasn't any kind of like automation going there where they kind of like, maybe faded out like halfway through section 2, right? And so the track needs a lot of work to make it like a track. So this actually reminds me of like one of my first songs ever, right? Like I have the computer, I have DAW, right? And I have like a loop pack here and I'm working on something and it seems like something that I would do is I would like do this and then it would like abruptly cut off and it would go into this and then that would abruptly cut off and it would go back into, you know, this first section. So the ebb and flow of the ENF factor just isn't there. You know, from Carl's standpoint is because it didn't have any real kind of build to it. It was just that it was kind of like broken down into that section, this section, that section, this section again. And then the song was over. So, you know, not that it sounded horrible because I like bass. So I like the boom, 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 boom. I really do enjoy that. And the melody kind of worked. Everything kind of like seemed to be in key. But that would be the thing is making it a proper song takes, you know, a little bit more effort than just kind of like, here's the song and it's out there and, you know, this is what we're doing. So, I mean, I guess we're going to listen to a lot of early works today is what it seems like to me. By all means, folks, take our criticism for what it is. It is constructive. It's not meant to be destructive at all whatsoever. If you did like these songs, then hop into the video description below, find these artists, go show some love, and make these songs your own on whatever playlist that you may have. So, but yeah, moving on here.
Can I just jump in here, though?
Of course, please, by all means.
Because I think what you've just said is incredibly relevant. So one of the things that I did was I released my music, and arguably when my music was initially released, when I was finding myself a little bit, I'd release it too soon. And then feedback from people like yourselves, it's absolutely precious because you sort of go, well, they didn't hate it. They didn't hate it. They said it needed developing, and you take it away and you may not appreciate that when you push it out there. You think it's a finished product, and then you listen to it and you go, I see what they're saying. And then you do a little bit and you do a little bit more and you do a little bit more. And that's the relevance of the underground sound. You know, we are here to listen to those tracks, and Carl's right. He's pulled something that caught him and he enjoyed. And though we might critique it, we're almost saying it's not rubbish. It just needs a bit of formula added to it that would make it more enjoyable. So yeah, hopefully what will happen is they'll take this away, they'll retweak it, and who knows, we may hear either a different song or a newer version, but they'll take these comments away and hopefully move them forwards, just like it did with me and my music. It definitely, these comments definitely drove me to go, well, it's not rubbish, I just need to make it better.
It is never my intent to downplay somebody, right? Because everybody has a vision. So my story with the initial release that I had done, you know, way back when and everything like that is like when you had the mixer, I did not touch any knob.
Yeah.
Everything was the same volume. Everything was sounding the way that it did, like when I put it there. And so, you know, I was just basically there sequencing stuff, right? So, and then it made the song. And was it good? Was it bad? I listened to some of the old stuff that I have done, and it's fucking horrible. It's fucking horrible. But now here's the thing is that I have years upon years upon years now of experience in new songs and learning how to do automation and learning how to create an ebb and flow and learning how to mix certain elements in different songs. You know, I mean, even if you use loops, you know, I mean, you need 30, 40, 50 freaking different sounds to make, you know, a track to be a viable track. So that's, again, when I say these things, they are meant to be constructive and not destructive. That's all that I'm saying. Is I'm not saying like, you know, give up your day job like Rob did to Kevin Bacon.
No, Kevin, no.
You know, so it's nothing of the sort. It is meant to be constructive criticism and you know, look at this portion and look at that portion, and then that could have been a very solid track. That could have been in a video game or whatever the case may be, even if it were just broken down into steps. I mean, I could see the possibilities for it, but the whole thing is that, you know, you need to create a solid track first before anything else happens, which is the only thing that I'm ever saying when I'm giving my critique here.
Yeah, constructive. That's the word.
Yeah,
Perfect.
absolutely.
And we've left Carl speechless for some
Yes,
reason.
indeed. No, I'm still struggling to get past. Try not to comment on your "I did not touch that knob" comment. It's a bit of one of those Bill Clinton moments. I did not have sexual relations with that keyboard.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was trying to get past. I had to say something.
When I was young, I never touched any knobs.
I did not touch that knob. I just want to put that out there. It's a small studio, you know, hands slipped. We just bumped into each other occasionally. That's all. It's just between me and the mixing desk.
I totally, obviously I don't have the lexicon that you guys do, so it's just I totally forgot that you guys call it a knob as well. So that's my fault. That's my fault for setting myself up in that situation here.
It's great. We love it.
Track number 3. We have in conjunction a song called ReConnect with the knob, huh?
Yes, indeed. So the artist behind in conjunction is Chris Tapscott from Richmond. I'm assuming VA is Vancouver, is it? It's gone silent.
VA? VA would be Virginia.
Oh, it's Virginia. What Vancouver? Of course, Vancouver's a city, isn't it? Oh no, that's Canada, isn't it?
That's
Vancouver?
Canada, yes.
Oh, sorry, USA.
Part
Richmond,
of a different country.
Oh, Richmond, Virginia. Of course, it's Virginia. Yes, of course. Okay, doesn't say a great deal here, apart from influences including, you'll like this, Depeche Mode, Daft Punk, Björk, Lady Gaga, Billie Eilish, Calvin Harris, Britney Spears, Aphex Twin, Madonna. So. This one says a song about reconnecting with yourself for fans of Gorillaz, Moby, and Tame Impala.
Well, if those stand up to the description here, then we're going to be in for a hell of a treat with this song. The song does not have bad stats at all. It's reposted, I should say, 3 days ago, but 82 plays a total, 91 fired, 3 saves, and Chris Tapscott in conjunction. The song is called ReConnect. It is available on Spotify and SoundCloud. That is what it is. So electronic and pop is what it's listed as here. Let's take a listen. Let's check it out.
Time to reconnect.
Wow, that was a rather abrupt ending to it right there. It was like literally like everything's cut off. Carlos Fandango, explain yourself.
I feel like I'm on trial with this because you two keep disappearing and listening on your big speakers. Like you don't normally do that much usually, but you do for every one of these because they're electronic. So it's kind of really being judged here. Yes, it starts abruptly, ends abruptly. It's another one that's not my normal cup of tea. Wouldn't probably listen to it much, but I thought it's got enough going on that's interesting. And there was quite, I think, a few saves and comments and fires, and so I thought, well, that's interesting. It's connecting with people. Excuse me. So on the downside, I don't think it really sort of developed much. Whilst on the flip side of that, there's quite a wide range of sounds and that nice little drum dot 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 sort of thing going on, and the vocals reminded me of Outcasts. Sorry, Miss Jackson. Yeah, Miss Jackson. And also the bit of 90s retro flavor, but also it's kind of a 70s retro vibe in so much as, for me, it feels a bit like Roy Ayers' Everybody Loves the Sunshine, that sort of where it's all about the groove. So it can be repetitive. It doesn't have to develop. It's all about the groove, and it just sort of flows. And that was what was quite interesting. And I found myself listening to that again about 3 times in a row, thinking, what do I think of this song? And I don't know, but maybe a sort of modern Parliament song where the woos were on the one, woo on the one, but maybe a bit more could be made of the one, just that big beat and the bass note on the one or something. Maybe a bit more development, but I just thought it was a bit of an interesting track, really, overall. I wasn't quite sure what to think of it, even now.
All right, Smart Monkey, let's hear it.
Okay, so very similar, in my opinion here. I definitely got a gorilla feel from the vocals and the way they're sort of dipping in and out with those kind of quirky little vocals, and that works. I definitely got the Outcast. I had Andre 3000, his vocals, he did sound like him in places. And I think this is the problem. I mean, he had this catchy hook of a bit that of a track that you get, and then it, as you say, Carl, doesn't develop. It's like I found it, but I don't quite know where to go with it or what else to do with it around the side. So I'll repeat it over and over again, and then by the time I get to the end, I'll just switch it off. There wasn't even an outro even. So again, there's this theme again. I think that we're getting on this, that as an electronic artist, you have to be careful that you don't just get a pattern and copy and paste it and copy and paste it and copy and paste it. And funnily enough, our guest that we interviewed earlier said very similar, that you just don't want to copy and paste, or we alluded to that for our conversations, that we don't want to copy and paste something. So there is that art in when you're doing electronic music, in not to get a little bit lazy. I know it's a harsh word, but and think you've got your track, and then you just copy and paste it, and then you can walk away from it, because you have to keep that interest going. You have to develop it, and you have to add a lot of variation to it. So, there's an element of that kind of hip hop feel to this that, you could argue, well, it's hip hop. You repeat it and you just drive it through in some shape. But there's a bit more of an art to hip hop in that it does develop. And if it's not the vocals that are taking you on a journey, there are other things underneath. So you still got the hip hop vibe, but there are other things making that variety happen. So, again, a bit like Tom said, some of this is work in progress. Take it away. You've got something good there, but just work on it. Don't give up on it too soon. Push it out there and go, right, I'm on to my next one. Because there's a danger when you do electronic music that's what you do, and ultimately you don't fulfill anything, because you've just it's almost like a snippet of a track that you could be doing properly. That's just my feeling on it.
Yeah. I am Tom Reporter, and welcome to the trial of Carlos Fandango.
Hang him!
Dear.
Hang him!
Cancel him.
Oh my God! We already have a couple of hang hymns coming in here. No. Listen, I totally get the Outcast style because it didn't feel any Gorillaz at all to me. It really did have that Outcast vibe, especially when you're talking about like Stankonia or something like that. You know, when they had like the kind of like double release, and Andre 3000 was kind of like doing his thing and everything like that. So it definitely had that kind of vibe for me, which I think it would fit nicely as more of a hip hop tune than it would. But it kind of like seemed again like the vocals were just kind of like placed there. And then somebody obviously didn't pay their electric bill. So, you know, the song just, the electric company came by and said, yeah.
It's cost of living crisis.
It is, like, seriously. Like, listen, energy today is just like, seriously, it's expensive. It's expensive all over the world. So, so I don't know where he's from, but, but hey, Virginia, we established that. I totally forgot about that. But, yeah. Once again, work in progress is the only thing that I can assume here. Dipping the toes in the water, feeling how this sounds and everything like that. And, eventually for all you guys that are kind of like doing this for the first time, it's kind of like, you'll get there. Believe me, you will get there, because for years upon years upon years, I really doubted myself, and I'm sure Smart Monkey did too. I know that Carlos still does to this day. Carlos still no.
Yeah, I do.
I know, because we've had talks like this where you're like, well, I don't know if this fits, I don't know if that fits, and
always, yeah.
You still you criticize yourself all the time when you're making music. So once again, constructive, not destructive. That's all that we're doing here. So if it is a first production, even a second one, even if you're like in your second or third or fourth year into this, like, believe me, listen to comments that people give you. If you listen to somebody tell you that, hey, maybe you might need to talk with a sound engineer, or work with automation, or, maybe throw a couple of samples in here that are kind of like really inconsequential, but little stuff really makes the track, when you're hearing a track and then there's all of a sudden like this kind of like kind of like drop or something like that, right? Like when you hear it, it's like, wow, well, that was cool. So you're not really listening to the track anymore. What you're doing is you're listening for that little kind of inconsequential sound. And that really does make a track, believe me. And so all I can say is just really keep at it, keep doing what you're doing, build yourself, find the as we were talking about with Ranjit before, also find the point that you're trying to make through a song. Do you want to make it a little bit sad? Do you want to make it a little bit happy? Like, which is the direction that you're going with this entire thing? And then like really build from there. Music is a form of poetry. It is a piece of writing. For Carl, for example, it may be audio. For Rob, for example, it may be visual, right? So there's always two different sides to the story here, folks. So whichever one that you're at, whether you're in the more audio perspective of it or whether you're in the more visual perspective of it, then work around that. It takes time to write a book and it takes time to write a song. So, and both are extremely complicated, extremely. So once again, just keep doing what you're doing and wishing you the best of luck.
Indeed. And we should explain, actually, that's our track 3, which would normally be the Purple Bowl track, but
it wasn't.
It's empty. We're not doing just to let our fans of the Purple Bowl of Destiny, we're not actually doing that this week. It will return in next show, but the Owl of Judgment will put in an appearance later on to judge. Oh, actually, they might have given a bit of a trade secret away there. There's my arm under there, isn't it? But basically, yeah. So Owl will appear. Owl of scowl, owl of approval will show rear its face, ugly head, whatever. Again later. I'm just rambling now.
rear its face, huh?
Yes,
Seems to
indeed.
be exactly where your hand is, but
Hand up its rear.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
I'm gonna pick up track 4 here, being
I've
as
I've reared it from a little chick. Right, okay.
trying to get away before Paul can make any jokes.
Oh dear.
I'm reading track 4 here as Deadbeat, Robotic Love.
Indeed. So Deadbit is basically from Trondheim in Norway, musician and songwriter of electronic music, harvesting lots of inspiration from all the earlier electronic musicians. Read that and thought, yep, that's good. Heard the track, of course, and this is, I love this track. Influences include Radiohead, Daft Punk, Depeche Mode, Kate Bush, David Bowie, Frank Sinatra, Nirvana, Ella Fitzgerald. Quite a nice, Massive Attack, Tom York, The Prodigy. So it's nice eclectic mix of tastes, but this particular one, the track itself is called Robotic Love, and it says a romantic tune inspired by the movie Blade Runner, as well as Vangelis' music, Jean-Michel Jarre, and Kitaro. Now, Kitaro is an artist that I, through this track and listening and seeing that comment, I thought, Kitaro? Why have I not heard of Kitaro before? Yeah, I've heard of Klaus Schulze and all the sort of Tangerine Dream, all these different things. Not heard of Kitaro. Suddenly, it's opened up a whole world of electronic music of Kitaro for me, and he's done tons of albums. So I would recommend it. They're brilliant, really good from what I've heard so far. He's good, I should say.
Here you go, folks. Once again, track with not bad stats at all. 12 days ago was the posting date of this song with 67 plays, 7 saves, 94 fires, 4 minutes and 22 seconds long. This is Deadbit, or I think it's meant to be Deadbeat because this is
I think it's Deadbit.
Well, the I is pronounced differently in certain parts of the country.
Oh, but I was thinking it was a bit, as it like that's the play on words, because like instead of being Deadbeat, it's Deadbit because it's computer music. It's a bit. That's the way I read it.
Okay.
Well, we could ask. We can find. Well, let's put it. If
I'm just saying it would be Deadbeat in Poland. It wouldn't be a
see.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to find out from Deadbeat. Well, Deadbit. If you're listening, watching, please tell us how you pronounce your name. The name. Is it your real name?
Rob's already losing his mind over there.
Deadbite.
Deadbeat. Oh yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, that could work, couldn't it? That's also a play on words. Yeah.
Deadbite. Okay, Robotic Love. Let's check it out. Well. Robotic Love by Deadbit or Deadbeat there. You bunts.
Still getting used to the
Monkey,
keyboard.
Since Smart Monkey's about to have a stroke here, from the red color on his face, go ahead, Smart Monkey. Let's go.
Oh, right. Okay, we're having a little giggle in the background there, but let's not distract ourselves from this track. This track is very, very good. I this is an electronic show, and this is absolutely perfect for this show. It's got all of those 80s synths that I love from all of that era. And one of the first things, so let's start from the intro. The intro just leads in beautifully. It's a very beautiful intro, and then from then on the track just gradually builds. A big fan of that. So you've got these layers that gradually build. So you've got atmospheric pads, you've got these leads, you've got these dreamy delays, these reverbs, all filling out this kind of soundscape that's going on here. Very much a sci-fi feel, very much a Blade Runner feel, which I know was what they were aiming to do, and it does it. It does it. So what does that mean? Well, it's very much Vangelis. It's just oozing Vangelis, and there are shades of Jean-Michel Jarre in there as well. He's done an amazing job of reproducing all of those, like see, Vangelis had a CS80, so he's got this, which was ahead of its time and amazing, and Vangelis just knew how to make the best out of it, and he's almost managed to reproduce it. And I know that these days it's a lot easier because we've got a lot more electronic synths that can reproduce that kind of music, but he's got that very sort of pure Vangelis vibe to it, because it's very easy to lose it now because we got too much choice out there. But he's managed to reproduce it really well. And whether Vangelis is his biggest sort of inspiration, I didn't get that from some of his others that we listed, but he has managed to nail Vangelis here. What are the other things that I noted? I said that at around 3:15, me personally, I thought that the song could have ended. So this song develops really well and it progresses really well, and then it just towards the end just got a tiny bit repetitive. Now other songs just keep on repeating and they're really annoyingly repeating. This one isn't. This one does really well. But for me, at the 3:15 mark, it should have just faded off on that last chord, and it would have been perfect for me. Didn't need the next verse. Didn't need it, because then it became repetitive for me, just on that last bit. But that is such a minor criticism, because the rest of this track is brilliant, and it would have easily been a love theme. He says that this was a love theme. It oozes that kind of sci-fi love theme. It could sit on any movie sci-fi series as a love theme, and yeah, it would be really good. And I'm going to say it now, it's a strong contender for my tune of the show.
Oh, for me as well. Yeah, I think that thus far this is my track of the show. But Carlos Fandango, please take it away.
Well, what can I say? I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
Yes.
Attack ships off of the fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in the rain. Well, there you go. I mean, it's straight from a Blade Runner. I mean, it's just could be used in Blade Runner. It's spacey, Vangelis-y. Definitely nailed that sound, as Rob said. I love this. Definitely already one of my favorites potentially for the show. So absolute eargasm for me. I take the point that it could have ended sooner, but you could do two mixes of that. And I'm quite happy listening to the full thing, because it's so dreamy, and you drift through it, and you could be just in a flotation tank or something listening to that, and I'd be in heaven if I was doing that. So yeah, double thumbs up for me. Fantastic.
Double thumbs up from Carlos Fandango. I'm going to say double thumbs up from DJX Tech here as well. And double up from
the trial of Carlos
Smart.
takes a new twist. Trial of Carlos takes a new turn and twist. Wow.
There's always a plot twist, but I'm pretty sure that the defense will be on its P's and Q's in a minute here. No, it's listen, I was since they mentioned Blade Runner, I had recently just watched Blade Runner 2046 or whatever it was, the new one with so Ryan Gosling.
Yep.
Yeah, it was Ryan Gosling that was in it, right? He's a fantastic actor in my perspective, but you know, and I do like the fact that Harrison Ford made an appearance in there as well, which was actually it was a cool bit, and I was kind of like picturing that bit when they actually met, and then when, spoiler alert, not much of a spoiler, but there was a whole like action sequence that happened there. I could like actually picture this song like being in that kind of like action sequence, because it was kind of like ultimate and kind of like dynamic and kind of like sad at the same time. So we were talking about this earlier, once again with Ranji, which is how to convey emotion through music, especially like classical music. And this is kind of like it did the job. I think it really did the job. It really did convey emotion. So to Carl's point here is that, you know what? Well, Rob's point is that it could have cut off at like 3:15. Carl's point is that no biggie, that it went longer. And I agree with both, is that both would have worked, but neither really, you know, kind of like deteriorate the function of the song at all, really, because I think it was a brilliant song. It was a good song all around. So yeah, nothing but 2 thumbs up. If I were an alien, then it would be, you know, 4 thumbs up. So
I suppose you could do 3.
I guess for whatever reason, aliens have 4 thumbs.
Well, that's true. See, I just
Yeah,
went along with your assumption that was all fine. Yeah.
Veswilligan Galaxy, I think, where they got 4 thumbs. Don't ask me to say that again.
What? The Zwigan, is it?
I can't even say it again. See, I told you not to ask me.
Where's that from? There's an actual sci-fi thing.
No, I just made it up.
Oh, you made it up. Okay.
Quite clearly, I made it up because they can't say it again. But they got 4 thumbs there.
But just in that galaxy.
Just in that galaxy. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Thank
very,
you.
very unique.
Thank you very much for humoring me, smart monkeys.
Well, we pride ourselves on accuracy on this.
4 thumbs up. That's what that is. It's not West Side anymore.
Thing now on the underground sound would be gay.
4 thumbs up over here on the underground sound. No, yeah, beautiful song. Moving on to our pre-break song here. Oh my goodness. I love you guys. Like seriously, I mean, this show is always so much fun. No matter what happens, the show always ends up being a blast. We're moving on here to Mário Raposo
from Ponta Delgada in Portugal. So, greetings. I'm a self-taught musician. This is him talking, not me. Composer born in San Miguel in the fabulous Azores. My musical influences encompass jazz, classical, music, new age, electronic, and some film score composers. And it goes on. But influences include Vangelis, Tangerine Dream, Jean-Michel Jarre, Ennio Morricone, Pat Metheny, Camel, so a bit of the prog sort of stuff with Genesis, Kitaro, that name comes up again, Secret Garden, John Williams, Kraftwerk, Space, and Andreas Vollenweider. So this is another good thing about Slaps, is that people sort of mention acts and you think, oh, I've not heard that before. So it's good to check out other music as well as these independent artists. This one is called, he said he's made this track inspired by some of Giorgio Moroder's music. And it's called Put It On Fire, Giorgio. I better keep talking. Put It On Fire, Giorgio.
It's just hilarious. Because Carlos Fandango was on trial, but he was like, nope, it wasn't me, it was him.
What's that? Oh,
It's-
we're still laughing at that.
It's not me talking. It's not me talking. This description.
Well, just to
And
clarify, because it sometimes looks like I'm sort of saying I'm a self-taught musician from
And then
Venezuela.
And then
Every
while
week
Rob
I'm
and I
saying
are
I'm from
sitting
somewhere
here
else.
dying laughing, Carlos is still like over here with his documentary narrative. Oh god! All right.
With some people, if they're watching, they probably think each week, wow, that Carlos Fandango is from all over in the world and he does all these different things, composes, produces, writes songs. He's a singer and a dancer and this, that, and the other.
Oh. Yes, I'm sure that's exactly what's happening.
Mario, so this is Put It On Fire, Giorgio.
Let's see. Look at that. Rob had to turn his headphones off because he was like hurting from laughing so much. Am I having a good time or am I having a heart attack? Oh my god!
Oh my god!
All right, here we go.
You can see a live stroke happening just tonight, folks. Stroke or heart attack, you take your bet. 2-1, it's a 2-1. It's a heart attack. And which of the three of us? We're all the ripe age for it as well. So which of the three of us is going to go first? Take your bets. I mean, I'm middle of the ages, but I do look older than Rob, so you know. And I'm drinking the wine here, so mind you, this is good for the blood. So it won't be a heart attack. It'll probably be more likely
A wine attack.
I think it's going to be a stroke for me.
Okay.
Liver failure.
Liver failure, yeah.
Oh my god. Put It On Fire, Giorgio by Mário Raposo. Please, let's check it out. Mr. Fandango, what was going through your mind when you chose this song?
Not a lot. It's usually blank, but basically, yeah, I think this one. It's very Giorgio, isn't it? It's incredibly Giorgio Moroder. It could have come from Midnight Express soundtrack or Electric Dreams, or his contribution to Metropolis. Full of retro goodness, I've written down. So it's got lots of that. I've also written down 3 minutes ? But a lot of these tracks that we're hearing tonight could be shaved, trimmed, and tidied down to a shorter length, and it wouldn't suffer for it. Equally, it's a good groove to get into, so it sort of nodded my head through that, so it was fine. I think it probably wouldn't suffer for being 3 minutes 30. I think that would probably be a better length for it. So that would be my main comment, but actually really nailed the Giorgio Moroder sound. Really got it.
Prosecutor?
This is an interesting one, isn't it? So I wouldn't have applied my trimmer to this one. We talk about trimmers earlier.
If you did, would it be a number 3 or number 4? And are we talking short and curlies or?
I wouldn't have trimmed this one. This one I actually felt. For Chris, I need Tom. I know I'd lose Tom on that one. I wouldn't manscape this one. It does exactly what it was supposed to do. It's a Moroder song. I love Moroder songs, and we hark back to Metropolis. Now I'm a rare breed here, because when he did his take on Metropolis, it was slated. A lot of people slated it because there are purists that love Metropolis, and I loved that element that he did a musical interpretation of it, really. Why am I saying that when we're looking at another artist here? Well, because this could have easily sat on that soundtrack. This is a really good track. It sounds like Moroder. It's a really solid track, and it kept me, well, my head was bopping here. It just felt like I was listening to one of his tracks. So I think it does exactly what it was supposed to do. The upbeat poppy arps and the kind of 80s beat that those tracks used to have, and the whooshy effects that, yeah, I loved it. I really enjoyed it. Needless to say, it's my second contender for the track of the show. I'm giving a few things away here, but I don't mind saying it.
Really?
Yeah, I really genuinely do. Out of the tracks that have been picked here, these two that are floated are very, very strong in that genre of music for me.
I liked it. I'm still waiting to get my second contender for the show, though. So my notes is that, yeah, I like it. I could have done without the pitch shift. We were probably about a minute and something in where the pitch shifted, and then it shifted again. And I could have done without that. But with that said, I did love the break, right? When the break came in and it was just silence, and then we had that boom, and then the organ in the background kind of like reminding me of the kind of like a disco style, like kind of like modern talking kind of vibe to it. You know what I mean? So had a really nice vibe to it. And then the 2 minute 40 second mark with the build up was really cool. But altogether, I think that the song could use a lot of work with some automation here, because I think that the once again, kind of like as I mentioned before, and as Carl kindly pointed out, is when I started off, I never touched the knobs.
Allegedly.
No, you just touch your knobs all the time.
That's an altogether different trial we're talking about. That's one that's yet to come. Hashtag me too.
Right on it. We are right on the knobs today, aren't we? But yeah, I just think that the automation could have used a little bit of work, because it kind of sounded once again like a same volume kind of song, although from like, let's say the previous 4 that we've listened to, except for track 4, so the previous 3, then I think that it doesn't make a strong contender. So I understand Rob's point in trying to make this maybe the track 2 of the night. I would still like to hear the other 5, maybe the bonus track 6 as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's my 2 cents right there. Is I do like the song. Could have done without the pitch shift. Work on the automation a little bit, and I think that that the song will be just fine. So we are going to take our break here because we are at that point. It is track 5, and I think that we all need a break here.
Off for a recess.
Between the trial of Carlos Fandango and the trial of the knobs, then it's just
yeah, and we would request any drum machines if you were operating with Tom from the late 90s to the early noughties. Just please do come forward.
Speaking of drum machines, though, I was
Crimes Against Music. As he self-admitted, he has admitted he made some crimes against music when he was first starting out. So, he's actually made a partial confession already. Drum machines, please do come forward. Don't be afraid to just, open up. You can phone a hotline down the bottom of the screen. There'll be a hotline coming up.
Next week's show will just be Smart Monkey and Carlos.
I just wanted to show you guys this thing because I was thinking about this one all throughout the show as the Roland MC909. This is the first drum machine that I ever actually like dropped like real money on. This thing was a $2,000 piece of equipment.
Wow.
That I had bought, and what was really cool about it is because I was thinking about the automation, right? So the automation, like you could literally do the automation, and the knobs on this thing would move as the song was progressing, and it had that little LED kind of like it would have been an LCD screen back then, not LED, because this was so back in the day but this is one piece of equipment that I owned that I was thinking about this song with the automation and with the way that it sounded. It sounds like something that I would have produced on this thing, the Roland MC909, which is a fantastic piece of equipment, but very much so.
I used to love all that early kit because it was designed for a specific purpose.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say this, but now it's going to sound really bad.
Oh, boy.
When you use these pieces of kit, you could abuse them.
On your special island.
You can make them do other things, and they would do it really well. So, but then when you're abusing knobs and things, it's not fitting well. No.
Oh, dear.
I'm trying.
There's 3 trials now starting. That's incredible. An abuse of kit trial with Smart Monkey. Please, any of these devices, come forward. We do need your testimony.
I've abused them. I admit.
They could take some punishment, I can tell you.
we're, all of us are going to need to start a GoFundMe after this show.
I hadn't even dropped the C-bomb yet.
Which is very strange. It's very odd for this hour of the show, right? No C-bomb from Rob yet. So we are going to take our break. It will be completely seamless for you. Watch the pen right here. I did it wrong last time because I did it the same way. So ready? Watch it here. And welcome back to the second half of the Underground Sound. Once again, as mentioned, it will be completely seamless to you. Folks, if you love these artists...
So when you said about it be completely seamless, I was thinking it'd be completely pointless to you. It's what might be more apt.
I went muted myself and everything. What I ask you? God.
Oh dear!
What I have to bloody act with these amateurs, I tell you.
It'd be completely pointless to you. Why I've just done.
Mind you, it's like way over here this time. I'm sure it was over here.
You're fucking one to talk when it was your idea, man.
It was my idea, yes. I thought that'd be quite a cool thing to do.
But
folks, we've got developments on that front, and Tom will be doing lots more with his magic pen.
Yes, making it disappear.
And then the trial will be next year.
No, the trial shall continue. The trial of Carlos Fandango shall continue today. But there will be other things going on with the pen. I'm not going to give them away just yet. And Ines, I shouldn't have even fucking said that.
Other exciting stuff going on with Tom's pen.
You want to throw the pen in the bin afterwards. That's all I want to say.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. That's not going to resemble a pen afterwards now.
That's why I've got my own pen. You keep it.
Just don't chew it. Don't put it in your mouth. Oh, dear.
Every time I think we've done the funniest show, we come up with new stuff here. But yeah, folks, welcome back to the second half of the Underground Sound. By all means, please visit the video description below. Find the links to all these artists here. Go visit them. Go check them out. Show them some love. If you depart from this show, go into our YouTube channel. Then you will find an interview with Ranjit that we did earlier. So by all means, please go check Ranjit out. It was a very for crying out loud.
Nice guy.
He was a very nice guy. I was going to say it was a
nice guy.
interview.
He's a lovely guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was a good interview though. It was a good interview. So please go check that out. Much to the likes of De Laurentiis or Jamie Salazar from Within Me, and so on. And maybe if you like, go back a year and a half and watch the interview where Carlos Fandango and I had actually met on screen for the first time. Carlos was actually the first interview that we had conducted when this was still Tampa Bay's Pulse Radio. And the radio station, again, will be making a comeback shortly. It will not be called the Pulse Tampa Bay's Pulse Radio anymore. It will be the Underground Sound 96.1 on your FM dials. So by all means, please, undergroundsound.com, find all the news for that. And fellas, I think you're going to be excited about this because with our Synthwave special, we do have a message in from the Pet Shop Boys.
Oh, wow. Nice one.
Wow. They must be watching because it's the Electronica special, I suppose.
Of course. Because maybe they're looking for an artist to collaborate with or something like that.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. Pretty cool and excited for our indie artists. Woo.
Indeed, they say that they're dancing around and looking for an artist in the second half to possibly even collaborate with. And oh my God, I totally messed that up.
What do you mean? It's not scripted.
It's not scripted. I just
Yes, the hardest line though, doesn't it?
Darling, stick to the script.
These are my reader glasses, so it's not scripted. It's just the fact that I can't read their message. I need to get closer.
Oh, right.
It says, we're dancing around to the synth beats and looking forward to the second half of the show. It's making the time pass by a bit faster so far. It's been a slow day for business.
Hey, that's a bit cryptic.
Yeah. Maybe it's a euphemism for writer's block or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yes, that's from Steve and Marshall.
Should we just do it all again?
Ages 19 and 23, respectively, who are two young trainee sales associates from the Furry Friends Pet Store and Aquatic Center in Miles City, Montana, and they wish us well.
Oh, right. Shame.
I
Says, there's a pattern forming here.
I know what I'm going to say.
Oh, dear.
Oh,
Yeah, I think you're right. That script was too challenging for us. I have to keep it to just one syllable words.
No matter how I say this, no, it's just
5-word sentences and one syllable words. I think it's about as much as we can manage.
Do you know when you're writing a movie script, you're supposed to do 1 page for 1 minute of acting?
Oh my god.
Acting? Is that what you call this?
I'm trying.
Yeah. In the acting world, that's what it is. Yes.
I'm trying to make a point here, Carl. The point is that you wrote a movie script that we're supposed to do on the fly. Coming back
from
my
bad.
fucking break, man.
I could read this out within that whole thing.
What's that even funny?
It's about 1 minute.
I'm sure that you can read it out within a minute.
Oh my god, what's that even funnier is that we're all laughing. And Carl just says this line perfectly in between it. Oh right, shame. We'll just like laughing around it.
Well, I'm starting to think Carl's a bit of a sociopath.
Could be.
Nothing really phases Carl. It's kind of like the show must go on is pretty much the way that it is, man.
That's called professional, darling. It's called professionalism, and I just wish you two had the same outlook as I do.
Oh my god!
No, it's not a lot does phase me. I've got to say, it does take a lot to phase me.
There's a pattern forming here.
Hey, that's the end line. That's the punchline. Oh, I know you've got another line to add there of your own little ad.
Yeah, I've got a pause. There's a pause in here. How are we editing this?
I think you meant to say, Rob, at the end. I think I know those guys.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna.
You're gonna do that, yeah. I won't spoil your punchline then.
Okay. Pause.
See, I totally forgot about that because it wasn't in the script. Sorry.
Theatrical pause.
Says Tom, who had lived his line completely.
Oh my god.
Indeed, they say we're looking for a new artist to collaborate with. And what else can I think of that's not in the script? We're currently working at Abbey Road Studios with Madonna and
Tom, did you say they were from furry?
Outside of the sex clinic, yes.
Tom,
just do it again.
Tom, did you say they were from furry friends?
Yes, I did.
I think I know them. Oh, God.
Well, I think that went quite well, don't you?
It was so bad. Oh my God.
Totally unscripted.
Oh man,
totally unscripted and au naturel. Moving on to song number 6. Stereo Raptor with Nightcrawler. Carlos Fandango.
Oh my god.
Right, the next one you're going to be disappointed with is Stereo Raptor is from Villarreal in Portugal. Again, Portugal. So strong on the electronic frontier. And frontier. Stereo Raptor is Eduardo Calchada, and basically, actually, Eduardo, I think we've been chatting a bit as well on Slaps, and really nice guy, comes across really well. He's a Portuguese composer and producer, passionate about music and the arts, and his influences include Aphex Twin, have cropped up again, Frank Zappa, Camel, Cryptic Minds, ReQuake, Steve Vai, Dimebag Daryl, and quite a few others. So there's Flowers for Body Snatchers. So I've heard of some of those. And this song is called Nightcrawler, which it says is the 6th song of the EP. Nightcrawler is a very groove-oriented song, mainly influenced by artists like Old School, Cryptic Minds, and Distance.
My demons. Electronic and Underground Nightcrawler available on Spotify. Looks like Bandcamp, or is that Tidal? SoundCloud, and also YouTube. This is a Stereo Raptor with Nightcrawler. Let's check it out. All right. The trial of Carlos Fandango commences. Carlos Fandango.
Is it me? Is it the defense to put their testimony forward? Right. Okay.
I have to say.
I think I probably chose this one because I thought, well, there's a lot of people who like this. It's a variety of show, really, and we do. So even when we're doing this themed electronica synth show, I thought this would provide a bit of variety because it's a bit of a heavy sort of dance, Prodigy, Aphex Twin heaviness to it, and a lot of the same going all the way through with the all that sort of sound. But I quite liked the sounds like the woo thing that came in. Can't know how to describe it otherwise, but yeah, basically, I think it's interesting. I mean, it's not the sort of music I would listen to. I think it could develop more, although it was this time fairly short, so you know it didn't overstay its welcome. Although I think yeah, there probably could have been a bit more of an array of development and ebb and flow, and you know, have that little thing going on at the start, come back in with something in between, in the middle, different. So otherwise, yeah, I think there's a market for music like this because a lot of people do like this sort of drum and bass type of. If it is drum and bass, it's electronica, sort of heavy. It's not okay. Electronica, heavy electronica type of thing.
Mr. Monkey.
I actually like this kind of music. I like this dark electronica. I like those kind of alien industrial sounds. They kind of, elude that sci-fi feel to it again. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I actually think this is quite a good track, actually. So for me, this could be potentially my third contender.
Wait,
Yeah,
what was
I'm a
your
big.
second one?
Sorry.
What was your second contender?
Oh,
no,
Giorgio Moroder one.
I remember. Yeah, I remember. I remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please,
please proceed.
Just trying to test me there, aren't you? Just trying to test me. But yeah, I think, you know, I am a big fan of those dark industrial sounds, and I like the way that it has a mechanical feel as it's going along, because that is part of the element of those industrial sounds. It is this mechanical, robotic, quite ominous feel about it, and that those sorts of songs, you'll hear it in some of my tracks. It has that kind of nightmarish feel to it. This like
bad.
Huh?
That bad.
No, in a very enlightening. That's the word. It's really bad, but enlightening.
I know what you mean, though. Yeah,
Yeah, like he's conveying this kind of mechanical, foreboding feel to it, and that's, I think, what the track is all about. So, you know, I put a comment on here saying that it would fit quite nicely on a sci-fi or a dystopian kind of movie or TV. And if you think TV series, and if you think about it, it has that kind of ominous feel to it, and I kind of like those tracks. So not so bad from me.
No. Yeah, so it could go on. Sorry, Tom, just quickly. So therefore, it would fit on something like the series Black Mirror.
Yeah, Black Mirror, and the you know, I've been starting to watch. What's the dystopian one at the moment? Last of Us. And watching how some of the tracks in that are developing on that, because that's a very bleak series, really. And yet, at the end of the day, it needs music a little bit like this to make it feel that dystopian kind of element to it. And tracks like this have a big part to play, because they are that dark, ominous feel that you want on that sort of thing. That's my take. Visual again. Visual monkey.
No, I get it. Smart monkey goes to visual monkey. And this is called dubstep in other parts of the world. And this really reminded me of Skrillex. You know, it had Skrillex kind of like written all over it. So not a bad track. It was a little bit down tempo for, you know, Skrillex's taste, right? Because Skrillex is like really like hyper and just kind of like like, you know, like let's get the music out there and everything like that. So this down tempo kind of theme to what you're talking about. I have not seen The Last of Us just because I've heard that it sucks. Another movie that is Last of Us a movie or a TV show?
TV show, and it's pretty good, actually, to be fair. Well, I haven't watched all of it. Certainly the first episode is pretty stunning, to be fair. Just watch the first episode.
A lot of the reviews here in the US has been that the thing is just horrible, and that's the only reason that I haven't checked it out. But on your recommendation here, Rob, since we have kind of like similar personalities, I will check it out for sure.
Episode 1, definitely watch episode 1.
I'll check out episode 1. You know, at bare minimum, right? But it really gave me this Skrillex kind of feel to it, and I think that this would be really, really, really hot playing in like a large venue. You know, when Skrillex went on tour back in 2008 or something like that, he happened to be in Tampa at the Hard Rock Casino, and it was one of the biggest shows that they'd ever done there. So, you know, so this kind of like rave setting, rave environment with this kind of like dubstep music, which like, let's be fair, like let's say that Skrillex pretty much like invented this stuff. If he did not invent it, he definitely recreated this to be his own. Or whether you go back to Equinox or whichever song that you're talking about, you know, from the early stages of Skrillex, it definitely was a genre that is his, right? And a lot of times that rah 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 wah 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 sound has been imitated from Skrillex, but never really duplicated, because I think that everybody that hears that will automatically think of Skrillex. So not a bad track. I think that the kind of like that the build up, quote unquote, the build up, the kind of the song all the way through, definitely I think would have its place in a rave kind of setting. It's definitely not going to have a place on the radio because of the repetitiveness. But if you were playing this in a club as a track that was going to, like, let's say, be like a minute or 2 minutes, so you were going to go from track A, then have this track, then you go to track B, then this would be an excellent kind of like filler kind of thing, right? So a little bit of development with once again, I think this is one of the things that we've been lacking on most of the songs today is a climax, right? So without having this proper kind of like climax going on, then I think the song would definitely, sorry about that. I think the song would definitely be really, really, really well used as a kind of a filler song. But once again, it does have its place in the clubs, in the raves, and so forth. And for that matter, to Rob's point, could be commercially viable as well. I can see it in an action sequence.
I think you're right, though, Tom. I think when you compare it to Skrillex, you're right. And there is that definite vibe to it. So what is it lacking? It's probably lacking a little bit of development in the layers that go on, maybe some additional layers. And dare I say it, we've talked about it throughout the show, but a little bit of knob tweaking just to give it that variety as it goes along. But, you know, Skrillex was about that, wasn't he? He was about changing the filters as it's developing and things like that. So the sound changes and evolves as it goes along the track. It can be repetitive, but it needs to evolve with some automation, as we're saying. Although, you know, automation to me almost makes it sound like it's all pre-programmed. But if he gets his hands on the knobs and twiddles them a bit in a live performance, it would make a difference. It would make a big difference.
Yeah, no, it usually does. You know, because when you're looking at live performances, the DJ always looks so fucking busy, right? And then you're like, what are you doing? You're just switching from one song to another. But no, you really are. You're tweaking the bass, the treble, the reverb, the filters, and everything like that. So there is quite a bit going on, you know, on the other side of the DJ booth as well. So it's not just the fact that, you know, we go from one song and find a way to find it to work with another song. There is a lot of stuff that is going on in the background. So you may not even be working on the sound, but if you're not working on the sound, then you're definitely working on the lighting. And if you're not working on the lighting, then there's something else going on. So DJs do have, you know, a bit of work where that's concerned. But yeah, it's just I think a little fine tweaking, to the point again, a little fine tweaking, mess with the knobs and you know, and that song will be that song will be good. So moving on to track 7 here. So thank you, Carl, for at least this one putting in the translation to Apollo, because
Yes.
7K square.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's Japanese, except Apollo 83 comes from Hyvinka in Finland. And Hyvinka, this is a good track. So basically, I had to do that. Just spotted the. Okay. So basically, the influences include 80s pop synth, Depeche Mode, Space Cassette, FRM, Kim Wilde, Laura Branigan, yeah, Björk, MGMT, Daft Punk, and a few others, Kavinsky, and so forth. And many, many more I haven't heard of. So basically, if I remember rightly, I think I really do like this track.
Okay.
I think I do. And it's called Warmind.
Let's get Warmind going here. This is also available on YouTube from the icon is the word that I'm looking for here. From the icon that's available, it is available on YouTube, listed as electronic. And you know what? for being posted 27 days ago on Slaps. 75 plays, 10 saves, 161 fires, soon to be 170. Hopefully, or it'll either be 170 or 162, one or the other. So let's enjoy Apollo with Warmind. Check it out. From our conversation here, I gather that Carlos Fandango has put a couple of fires on that song himself. Carlos Fandango, take it away.
Yes, I have added some fire to the track. So who's to know how much I've added, whether it's an even number. Have I rounded it up? Have I not? You'll not know until you refresh your screen.
I do.
And at that point, of course, you can't because you're presenting, as you say. So
I just did because I stopped presenting. So you gave it one extra than I did. So.
Yeah, I think I give it 11 fire.
There you go. Problem solved.
So yeah, I love the retro feel. It's got, funny enough, a bit of a Giorgio Moroder soundtrack type feel to it, but easily could be used on something like Stranger Things. we often cite that as what I do as a sort of reference point for electronic music. A nice build. I think the gate effect, again, yeah, it does jar with me. The gate effect on this one, I think, is okay, except I don't know, Tom, you'll be able to tell when you add your comments in a moment, but you know, can that gate effect, well, it can of course be tempered a bit, but if it wasn't so prominent, that would be fine by me. But yeah, that does jar with me a little, but otherwise I'm quite happy with it sitting in the track, really. I love that synth guitar sound with the pitch bend as the main theme as well, and that really is good. Perhaps the track could be shaved down to about 2:45, 3 minutes, but again, it's one of those ones with electronic tracks, they sort of drift along. You kind of accept it for what it is. It could be shorter. Either way, it's fine. But yeah, once you get into the groove, it's good. I really like this one because it's got a very strong retro feel.
Yeah. Smart Monkey, what say you, man?
Eek. Right. Okay. So this one.
Eek.
Yeah, this one jarred me a little. I like the intro. I like the synths. I like where the song is kind of going, but there's a big issue with me for this track in that gating that you're talking about, I think, is their side chaining. And I think what they've basically done is they've applied a side chain that's compressing the whole of the track to get this kind of ducking effect. And the only instrument that is really prominent as a result of that is the lead, and the lead is almost untouched. You can hear it and it's dancing all over the top. And I don't know if they
time out. Let me ask you guys a question. So are you getting the hardcore gated effect as we're listening to the song now, or when you listen to it before
as well?
Really?
Yeah,
it's there a little before, but I didn't think it was as prominent. And this evening, listening to it here, it felt much more prominent.
Because I'm still wondering.
I've always got it.
You know, Rob and I were talking about he was asking why we don't go live, and I had explained to him the audio issues were always a problem for us, right? Where we would have that kind of like that fishbowl effect and everything like that. So I just wanted to ask that question before. But go ahead, Rob.
Well, what's interesting is I've listened to it because I thought it might have been just headphones or whatever, and then I've listened to it throughout my house on different speakers, and the whole time on my best speakers it does sound better, but it's still squeezed. The whole thing is being squeezed the whole way through the track, and the only instrument that isn't getting this squeezed effect is the lead. And I think the lead has been left untouched, and the whole track has been sidechained. So it's doing this ducking effect through the whole thing. Now, for me, although we know that is a technique that's used on a certain tracks to give it an effect, it's actually, oddly enough, disorientating to me, because the brain doesn't want everything to be ducking in and out on that.
Right.
So I think they've misunderstood the context of the side chain and taken it to its, you know, ultimate literal and ducking everything. So you get this almost like, it's quite queasy making, really, this ducking effect.
Yeah, no, yeah.
With this lead over the top. So yeah, it is a potentially strong track, and I think they just need to go back and realize that not everything should be being ducked by the side chaining effect. You know, what were the positives? It is a strong track. It has potential. It is, as Carl says, you know, that has that Stranger Things element and that retro feel to it. But it is suffering from that ducking. And then the other thing, as Carl again has said, is that it just doesn't really go anywhere. That was my other issue with it. Once the lead's kicked in, then it's just the lead and the same thing, doing the same thing over and over again. And it, you know, we've talked about it on a few other tracks. It's a pitfall of electronica music. You know, you've got it. You think right, all I need to do is just keep this repeating, and I've succeeded. And the variation just isn't there. And what people need to understand is you need to build, or you can take a particular theme to it, but you do have to vary it throughout. I mean, I'm a big I don't want to use the word culprit, but I do often repeat phrases of a piece throughout my track, but I make a special effort to introduce something that brings the variety, that evolves the track. And as you probably know now, a track has to take you on a journey, and you have to get somewhere at the end of it. You just can't keep going over and over and over and over the same bit. So, you know, that's the only other thing I'd say, is that there's not enough variety in it. So bring that side chaining down, stop that ducking so it's not so prominent, because it's quite queasy, and then bring a bit of variation in there, and then, you know, it's you know, it has potential.
Well, thanks for making me feel like a piece of shit, because this is going to be like my second track of the night. I really didn't like. No, believe me. You know, Carl and I have had this conversation about the noise gate many of times, because, you know, it makes you dizzy, and it is just kind of like you know, like you say, it makes you queasy. So I feel the same way about it. But for whatever reason, I didn't pick up on it here. I really didn't. Like, I mean, I understood the slope, right? But I didn't get it like some people do, where it drifts from the left to the right, to the left to the right, to the left to the right, to the left to the right, you know, and it's just completely, you know, discombobulating. So I really didn't get any of that. I actually thought it was a good song. You know, since you're a visual kind of person, Rob, like the movie that I was picturing when I was listening to this song was the movie Drive.
Yep.
Yeah, with Ryan Gosling, right? So if you remember that movie, that's the one that I was picturing to this one. Yeah, it was a fantastic movie, and I think that this soundtrack would have worked perfectly in it, because it had that so it had that really cool, like, kind of like 80s feel to it, you know, especially when he was the driver and he was putting on those, you know, those racing gloves, but he was also like this tough guy and everything like that, right? Like the quiet tough guy and everything. So I think that the song worked brilliantly. So I'm gonna have to give it a second listen and see what I missed here, because you guys are obviously harping on that effect more than I thought, because I think that we've definitely heard worse, Carl.
Well, yes, certainly have on the noise gate. But on this one, it was one that I'd noted at the time that I really liked it, but the noise gate effect was there, but I thought it was acceptable at the time. This time around, I noticed it more, and I don't know why that was, whether it was just because we're hearing it slightly differently or something. But I definitely noticed it more than I did before, and that did detract from the song because it was noticeable. Whereas when I was listening to it, I knew it was there, but it was kind of not overused at the time. So I kind of thought that was okay and acceptable. But I don't know. The jury's out on that one for me, because it would be my second or third song of the night, I think. Because it's a strong song. Take out the noise gate, and I'll make it one of the top tracks of the night.
Yeah, there's an element of that for me. I think you're right, but I think take another listen, and imagine. So I'm visual again, so I'm going to be visual. So to me, this track is doing this. So you're on waves, right? Or if we take the drive concept, you're driving up and down a hill. In fact, the drive one works even better. So you're driving up and down a hill, and every time you're going down, the sound disappears, and then as you're coming up over the hill, it's back again, and then it's down again. But the only thing that's sitting more static is the lead. Now, I get the ducking and the side chain effect. I think there's a place in it, but I think it's been applied to everything other than the lead. And I think what that actually does is the brain is trying to calculate what's going on here. And everything's going down and everything's coming up and everything's going down apart from the lead. All it really needs is a little bit more subtlety to that, picking certain tracks and applying that sidechain effect and letting other ones still sit prominent other than just the lead. And then that would have taken a totally different stance, I think, to me.
Well, there, you talked me into it. I put a question mark next to my second choice.
Have a listen, though. Have a listen. No, don't do that, though. Because
I'll have a listen. But for all intents and purposes here, let's. Apollo with Warmind was that one. By all means, folks, once again, visit the video description below. Let us know which one of us is talking crazy here, because I have two systems of recording going on here. We've had audio problems before. Hopefully they're not like recontinuing themselves. I technically did not hear that much of a noise gate on there where we're completely like discombobulated and like having a seizure, right? But apparently the folks here, Carlos Fandango and Smart Monkey, say that we are. But
you're definitely right. I would be absolutely intrigued what other people felt, and they should put comments.
Moving on with the show, Rob.
Yeah, but you're right. Put them in the comments because I want to hear what other people say. Yeah, because it could be totally me. And people drop their comments in and let's see what they think.
I personally think at this point, from hearing this song fresh on, over my cans through my mixer, I'm the one that's presenting everything, right? I totally think that it's an audio issue. Because
let's get comments, people comments.
Yes,
good idea.
I was into that. Leave your comments below. Let us know which one it was. Was it the gated effect? Was it that Rob and Carl are going crazy?
Yeah, definitely.
Rob's fucking 55 for crying out loud.
my ears aren't good anymore.
He's senile, okay? He doesn't know shit. Leave the comments below. Let us know. By all means, please, folks. Let us know. I honestly think that was my number 2 for the evening, unless number 7 here boasted even more. So number 7, we have Your Name on My Screen by Lena Felner, featuring Mode to Mode. What can you tell us about this, Carl?
Yeah, so Mode to Mode is the act, and it says this is the second track in collaboration with my daughter Lena. Not my daughter. And basically, she likes The Cure, Depeche Mode, Giovanni Sabia, New Order, and Soft Cell. And what could possibly go wrong there? So there's not a lot else we know other than she does pop, electronic, synth, 80s synthwave, and rock as well. This one, from what I remember, was, well, let's just see, you know what the prosecution says on this one. And I don't know. I mean, this is court. I've put it in the spot.
You mean to say not your daughter, sir?
I've put it in the spot where the bowl would have chosen. So it's imagine it's a purple bowl choice, and the owl, of course, is going to join us on this one.
Ooh,
so we'll get whether it's going to be a owl of approval, owl of scowl, or just owl of indifference. So could be anything.
Or the owl of Simon Cowell. Okay, here we go. Your Name on My Screen. Lena Felner featuring Mode to Mode. Your Name on My Screen. Also available on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. Let's check it out.
Just keeps on ringing. Let's pretend I did not hear. Oh, it's one of my fears. Your name on my screen. Just don't touch green. Will you give up? The screen turns black. There's just something I enjoy in being left all alone. I constantly hear the style don't know what to say. Please don't be offended. That's nothing personal. I feel tired and bored watching Netflix new show. Introvert mode on. I'll call you back, but no, please hang up. There's just something I enjoy in being left all alone. I constantly hear this tired voice that says no when I try to pick up the phone.
Smart Monkey, how well do you think that you know me?
Not so sure really anymore.
All right.
Right,
Carlos?
okay. Are
No.
you wanting me to give a bit of feedback on this one and then see if we're quite common on this?
But, no, I asked you a specific question.
Oh, how much do I think? I think I know. Well, I think I know you
What-
very well.
what
in
would-
the
what-
short amount of time that we've got to know each other, cuddled.
So what's my biggest beef with this song?
Maybe repetitive.
Nope, Carl already knows. Carl,
I know what it is.
Yeah.
It's the vocals are overlaid and not mixed, sunk into the mix enough.
yeah. But by all means, please, Smart Monkey, take it away with the comments.
Okay, well, I'm gonna just wash all over that. I was going to say something else.
Yeah. I noticed you've got the monkey as well there. So
Yeah, I have my monkey in my hands.
What is it? The music monkey of mishearing or
This
what was
is the
misjudgment?
actual smart monkey that I got my name from.
Oh
Monkey.
yes, the smart monkey. So
It is a smart monkey, but the monkey of mayhem, I guess.
So what am I going to say on this one? This one's throwing a bit of a curveball in the mix for me because I had what I thought were my favorites, but I really like this. So I don't know what it is about the vocal side that you don't like about it. I know that perhaps it sits prominent, very prominent, and maybe that's what you mean by what you're saying. But I like her vocals. I like the construction of the track. I like the structure of the track. I think it's intriguing and it's caught me by surprise really because I had already had my picks. I don't think I heard this one because this came in later, did it? Or have I just missed it?
I don't know. You might have just missed it. I think it was there. I might have added it. No, it was there, but I think I just changed its placing.
It's a pleasant surprise for me. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It has this very poppy element to it. Her vocals are quite quirky over the top, and the way that the song's structured. And when the song first starts out, you aren't expecting those vocals to jump out at you when they do, and they're very prominent. And I really like that. I think that's put a bit of a slant on some of my choices for the night.
I think personally, like, this is probably one of the better songs that we've heard vocally for the evening. But my biggest issue is it's not the fact of the vocals being prominent. It's the fact that the vocals are overlaid, meaning that the track has already been completed, and then the vocals are singing over a track rather than being mixed into the track themselves. So. And I'm pretty sure that you can pick up on that because the vocals are way up here. Like,
yes, I see what you're saying. So what I said they were prominent. That's what you're saying. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I get that.
So I think that this is what I mean by overlaid vocals, is that the track has been completed, it's been mastered, all the elements have been kind of like done, then it's sitting there as one specific MP3, and then the MP3 is going, and then the singer sings on top of it, right? We've had that a couple of times. I know people that have done it personally, so I think that this is the case with this one. But by all means, Carlos Fandango and the Owl of...
Well, look, what's it going to be? Let's have a little look. Dun, dun, dun. I think Owl actually quite liked it.
Oh, the Owl of Approval.
Overall, Owl of Approval, yeah.
Cheers.
I would say, okay, so I have written down vocals or vox overlaid, question mark. So I picked up on what Tom was picking up on. So I think, yeah, the just sync them into the mix with a bit of a kind of, just as short decay reverb or something. There's a bit of definitely a Scandinavian accent going on there as well, and I quite like that. Which she says, when I tried to pick up Der Phone, and I really like that kind of thing. Yeah, when ABBA used to sort of sing really good English lyrics, but in their inimitable way, it was just something unique about that. And so I'm guessing they're from somewhere in Scandinavia. We've had quite a few Swedish artists and Norwegian artists. So not many from Finland. But basically, sort of electro rock, kind of Ace of Base, maybe feel.
Yeah.
Sophie Ellis-Bextor in there as well. Actually, because a lot of the Scandinavian, when they're pronounced in English, there's usually quite a bit of sort of actually clear, very English pronunciation. So, but yeah, I've written bit of Polish. I thought it was a bit of Polish, but it's a bit of Polish and a little bit of Polish, and I think that track could be really good, really radio friendly if it's got that extra bit of Polish in it.
Say all that you want is another baby.
Yeah, that's the one.
No, I totally get your thing with the Ace of Base thing here when you're talking about it. Yeah, but I think this is like a solid third for my top tracks of the evening. I liked it. Like, listen, I just that one part, that one bit, right, where the vocals could be mixed into the song rather than being placed on top of it. And I think this would be a pretty nice contemporary kind of like pop hit, because everything else here is done very, very well. The track is produced nicely. I think that the vocals are very strong. So whether you're talking about, today or, yesteryear, as it were, with Ace of Base or ABBA or whatever the case may be, very nice voice, especially over the monitors. It comes off as very full, and I think that this may be one of those situations that we're running into where young girl meets first track, right? And we don't really work with a correct producer and everything like that. And we have what we have. So if that's the case, then I think that we have a solid song and a really we're witnessing the beginnings of a bright future for somebody. That's really what it is.
What's interesting is I just read the comments, and it's the second track in the collaboration with my daughter Lena. So I just wonder if maybe what happens, he recorded the track and then he had his daughter just overlay over the top, and like you say, maybe that collaboration was as simple as that without actually sort of mastering it down more. So what we've really probably highlighted there was just a little bit more, and this track could, well, who said polish? Someone said polish there. I think it was the owl, actually. The owl said polish. I heard it.
The owl did,
and I think that's dead right. This could be a really good track with a little bit of polish.
Right. So here's me with my Sherlock Holmes pipe, since I don't actually have the Sherlock Holmes pipe.
That's so much like a pipe.
Well, damn it, Watson. Like, if you haven't taken my suggestions word for word, we would have never cracked the case.
Amazing.
That's exactly what I'm saying. This is the point that I'm making, right? This is the second track in collaboration with my daughter Lena.
Totally get you.
I do believe that the beats and everything was made first, and then it was recorded onto a wave, MP3, whatever the case may be, and then Lena had sang right on top of it, and that's the only issue that I'm having with it, because otherwise this is a hot pop song.
I wouldn't have known until you said that. I'd never really picked that up, but I totally get where you're coming from.
Well, pay attention, son. You're in the music business.
I've learned something from you, DJ X Tech.
That's good. That's good, though. I mean, because that is a common bugbear of yours, Tom. So, and it is a simple fix as well, isn't it? Just adding some.
It really is.
Reverb, nice plate reverb. Maybe some more reverb as well. Sink it into the mix.
That's all. It. That's all. Before you render the track to an MP3 or to a wave or to whatever you're doing, okay, make sure that you record the vocals in there. Maybe do a double or triple slice of and offset them by like 1/52 or whatever the case may be. Add a little reverb here, add a little bit of echo there, and believe me, you will have a great sounding track that will make you sound like a true professional within no time at all, really. But once again, if you did like that song or any of the previous songs or even the interview that we did before, if you don't know about the interview before, then by all means check out the video description below. Find the video with Ranjit. Find all the links to all these amazing artists, including Mode to Mode there, and find links to Smart Monkey, the Owl of Scowl, Carlos Fandango, and DJ Expect, the Underground Sound, and everybody here that's involved in this show, and our show sponsor, obviously, Nathan, for sure. Thank you very much, brother. We are on to, this is song 8?
There is song 9.
What?
Say goodnight to the owl, by the way. So
song 9. No way.
Song 9. The bit where you normally get quite sad because we're on the downward slope now.
I didn't know that we were that far ahead.
Technically, if we do the bonus track, then we're not.
How are you guys feeling? Should we do the bonus track?
I don't mind. It depends if the audience wants it. Well, they've got no choice.
Let's have a listen. What do they say?
Yeah. And leave your comments, and then
you guys want to hear a bonus track?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
I think they said yes. So,
well, where do we sling the bonus track? Do we do it as a bonus right at the end, or or now? No, bonus right then, shall we?
Yeah,
it's just the thing is, I thought the end track is normally the one that's the one that I think is the show closer, but I don't mind either way. The show, it could be a good show closer.
Hey, Carl, when do you want your bonus taco? Do you want it right now with the rest of your tacos, or do you want it at the end after you finish your taco?
At the end. At the end. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's put it into perspective. Thank you, Tom.
You're very welcome. Okay. Leave it up to Carl. So this is the Dyderian?
Dyderian, I reckon. Yeah, Dyderian.
The long haul listed as electronic. What do you have on the song thus far, sir?
Well, not a great deal. It's a bit more of a sort of darker tone, if I remember rightly. There's no information on Dyderian here, only that they've uploaded 5 tracks. They've been on here since April 21 on Slaps. not attached to any groups and not got any influences listed. So apart from the tracks that have been uploaded and this particular one, which I suppose I could read out a couple of the comments that we've had from people, which is this vibe in this composition is amazing, exceptional work. Once again, excellent work. Really like the synths and the feel here. Love the melody, bro. The waves give you that feeling. That's the slaps comments for you. It does say
along with the obligatory fire. Should make this a very solid track. So let's try.
Actually, I must draw your attention to the fact that it's actually around 50 at the moment before the finger of destiny just presses 51. So I think you need to round this up, Tom, because it's currently on 51 fire now.
Okay.
I said fire on there because I thought you were going to say 50 minutes. Now it's like,
this is our bonus track, 50 minutes long.
It's kind of like
extravaganza of electronica.
You know, you mentioning that makes me think of the Nine Inch Nails album. I think it was Pretty Hate Machine, which had the bonus track, but you had to go through. So it ended on like track 8 or something, right? But then you had like track 9, which was nothing. Track 10, you had to get to track 99 in order to get the bonus track. If you remember that, right?
Yeah, I did.
There was nothing there. It was just
really nice. And wasn't it quite a good track as well, if I remember right?
Yes, it was a good track. But the whole thing is that you had to sit there and watch your CD player skip to track 74, 75, 76, 77 until you got to track 99, and then finally they had that one, and it was awesome. So props out to Nine Inch Nails for or the producer, whoever was thinking about that for Nine Inch Nails at the time. Great idea, I think, for as making CDs kind of like more or less kind of quote unquote interactive, right? Where you had to like sit there and like watch it. But for now, The Long Haul by Carl. Dyderian. Okay. 50 fire, 2 saves, 40. 50 fire, as far as I know. 2 saves.
51 now. I can tell you.
44 plays, about to be the 45th one right now. Let's check it out. The Long Haul. All right, Carlos Fandango, take it away.
Right, so I hope it doesn't disappoint. This one, I think this one was, for me, it was a bit of a slow burner for me listening to it a couple of times before, but the more I listen to that one, the more I enjoy it, because I like the way it plays around with the polyrhythms and the syncopation at the start, and you kind of get that interplay all the way through. It's a nice sample vocal. There was a track, it was, who's the Scottish artist? Paolo Nutini, which was Iron Sky, and it used the Charlie Chaplin speech from The Great Dictator, which was really well used. And this kind of, in a similar way, used some old random speech or something from somewhere, possibly from a film, I'm not sure, but that obviously has the line, the long haul in it. I really like the use of that. But what I like about this is it's a bit like Aphex Twin, the way it sort of moves around on constantly shifting sounds. It's got sort of different sections, almost as if you're sort of in an art gallery and you're going into different rooms with different artists, and there's just different things. You keep opening another door and there's something different in the next section. So I kind of like the way it sort of shifts around all the time. It just never settles down on one thing, which I quite like. It's quite artistic in that way. So I think it's a bit different, and I'd be intrigued to sort of listen to a bit more of Dyderian's music as a result.
Mr. Smart Monkey, what is your take on that song?
How'd you top that? Art galleries and moving room to room. I thought that was fantastic. I like that. I'm visual again. I'm a visual man, and I'm loving that. Yeah, I totally get what Carl's saying by that very comment. You're getting those subtle changes. If you're moving from room to room, the gallery has a theme, but you're walking through and it subtly changes along the themes. And I exactly see where you come from. I love that, Carl. Like you said, I'm a big fan of those, like use when it's used well, those kind of very old vocal bits, and I do it a bit myself in my own tracks. Sometimes I manipulate them so you can't actually hear them, because that's just the odd quirky thing I do. But I really love, I mean, it's that lo-fi element that comes out of those old speeches, isn't it? They're so sort of they're so low in their frequency that they sit nicely in a track, and they help take the mind somewhere with the vocals. So I'm a big fan of those very vintage vocals that people put in there. So much so I probably would have liked it a little bit more, oddly enough. But yeah, and we talked about Stranger Things and how we sometimes go back to Stranger Things as our like place where we would put a track in this new era, because Stranger Things brought a lot of this stuff back again, and this did remind me of Stranger Things quite a lot, actually. So I really like this one. Again, of all the tracks we've been playing here, this one stood out a lot more. It had a lot more going for it than some of the others that are good, but they just a little bit too repetitive and lost the context of that. You do have to vary it a little bit. That art gallery thing, I love that. I want to take that away. That you do have to change the theme of your rooms as you're going along. I love that.
Yeah. Carl's good at that, putting you on the spot and shit like that, So no, it's funny. We've been talking about the M83 with the movie Oblivion recently and everything like that. I think that this track could be something that could be added on to that. So I kind of like the transition, right? Because as Carl had mentioned, you're walking from room to room, gallery to gallery, and you're looking at picture to picture and everything like that. So that's kind of like what it was, is because we started off and we had that 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. We had that melody going, and then it kind of like tapered off, and then we had this nice vocal come in, right? And then it progressed from kind of like, let's say this kind of like this kind of like underwhelming lo-fi song into a hip hop beat, right? And then from there, it kind of went back to this kind of like lo-fi song. So I think that the electronic and the hip hop feel reminded me a lot of Faithless, and that's just pretty much where I'm going to stick with it, because I think that it's an enjoyable song if you're going to be in that kind of like perspective where I like this song and I'm not going to mind it if it comes on in my regular playlist kind of situation, right? Because is it licensable, for example? Yes, absolutely, 100. I think 100%. You know, video game, can you see it? I think I can see it in a video game. You know, I wouldn't necessarily be able to see it in something like Peaky Blinders or whatever kind of like series is kind of like similar to that. But when we were talking about the other song that was supposed to be used in the Blade Runner kind of theme, can you imagine this song being in the Blade Runner kind of like soundtrack as well?
Here you go, Tom, Drive again.
Yeah, Drive.
Can you imagine that, like a scene where he's going down the streets and it's more that chilled scene where you're just knowing that he's contemplating stuff and he's driving down, street lights flying by.
Yeah. You know, and honestly, that entire movie should have just been an album. Is what it is. That's all that it really had to do with. It had to do with a whole bunch of music, because the movie wasn't really like 100% like hyper enjoyable or anything like that, right? It was just it was what it was. But just like the having that jacket on, which was that Rocky Balboa kind of like style, and like I said, with those gloves and everything like that, right? So I think Drive or Blade Runner, whichever one that you're going to be looking at, is I think that this song would work nicely in one of those soundtracks. So licensable for like ultra like commercial use, no. Licensable for like a movie of that type, then absolutely yes. Especially we should do something. We should really do something. All three of us, we should do something where we find tracks that we sign up to sync license for third-party writers and directors and why am I saying this out loud? Oh my god. Edits.
Right, edits. I know exactly where you're coming from. Like, oh yeah, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Like we could literally do like kind of like library, right, where we find all of this fantastic music, and then we say like, hey, here's a $2.99 a month subscription fee if you're a filmmaker or a college student or whatever, right? And look through the library, and we'll go into talks with people, and we'll figure out like what kind of compensation that we want. But it's one of those songs. It's one of those songs which could be in one of those movies, whether it be very prolific or whether it be a college production. So I'm just going to say, very well done. I enjoyed it, even though Carl had put a fire on it. Yes. Oh.
Did you put some fire?
I plead the fifth.
Okay, well, we'll see.
Plus one.
You can always add some too, Rob. Don't forget.
I'll just put a one on. Whatever he adds, I know it's going to round up the 10, so I'll just add one.
Yeah. We're just going to keep messing with each other now.
I've seen it before. And every time I've seen it, I've been like, fucking Carl.
It's not necessarily me, but it could be me. That's the thing.
Could be two of us now.
No, being inside the old head there.
No. Because the whole thing is, I'm listening to the song a few hours before we talk about it, right? So naturally, in my mind, I'm like, "Fucking Carl," right? Because the song wasn't that popular to begin with. So now I evened it out and I rounded it up nicely, and then all of a sudden it's unrounded again. Then I'm fucking Carl.
Like a bidding war. It's going up and up and up in fire just to get around them.
It would be, yes, sir. Okay, well, this would be our last song of the night had we not chosen to do the bonus track as well. But song 10 here is Memories Fade by Soul Savage. Carlos Fandango. Tell me
Yes.
about this song.
Okay, so Soul Salvage are from Berlin in Germany, and looks like the influences include Hans Zimmer, Ennio Morricone, been mentioned a few times tonight, Michael Nyman, Philip Glass, which is good. I like Philip Glass. Einaldi again, Max Richter, love Max Richter's music. Rammstein, Meshuggah. Rammstein, sorry. So it is Rammstein, not Rammstein. Oh, see, Rammstein sounds nice to me. Rammstein, okay, Rammstein. Clawfinger, Gojira, and a few others as well. So this one says, my first release made everything within iOS GB. That might mean something to you, but this is called Memories Fade. It's so far, so from being posted, well, reposted 19 days ago, 188 plays, 286 fires, and 15 saves on Slap. So it's a popular track.
Well, we shall check it out here, and we'll be the judge. We'll be the judges of whether it's a popular track or not, right? So yeah, but yeah, 286 fires, 15 saves, 188 plays, not bad. It's listed as electronic and trap. 59 comments to boot those stats. So Soul Savage reposted 18 days ago. Memories Fade, also available on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. Let's check it out. Welcome back to the trial of Carlos Fandango commences. Carlos Fandango, what do you have to say for yourself, sir? Please turn your microphone on when addressing the court. Thank you.
Sorry, but your Majesty. Sorry, your Highness. No, hold on.
I'll accept your Majesty.
I forgot what the thing is, sir.
Sorry, love.
What is it again?
Sorry, love.
What is the actual address? How do you address a judge again?
Your
Honor.
Your Honor, of course it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Your Honor. So, I love the arps at the start, and the pad synths come in, the sort of gentle beat comes in, the big drop comes in, then there's a change of beat, And then the pad synths come in with a bit of eerie moodiness, a bit heroic, a bit big, a bit epic. I actually put in my comments on Slaps that you remember the song Minor Liebe by Alexander Kislitsyn?
Yes.
Really good dance song,
Yeah.
where he had the sample of the operatic singer, the tenor, singing quite deep vocals. I've said on my comments there, yeah, I think really there's an operatic vocal to be overlaid on that as well, mixed in, and I think that would sound pretty cool if that was there, because I found myself singing along on when I first heard it. Immediately found myself singing a sort of like a little operatic harmony type thing, and it just seemed to work. And I thought, well, I think they should try that as well. But I actually really like that. There's an objection from Smart Monkey, right?
I object,
Over to you,
Your Honor.
Yes, let's hear you, Smart Monkey.
I do object. I do actually. Okay, so what about this track for me? I think yes, it's a powerful track, and one could say epic. What are you laughing at?
I'm a tainted judge because I can just tell people what to do. Please go ahead, Smart Monkey.
So I'm going to go with the epic feel. I do get the epic feel, but I've got another big issue. I don't know what it is. I think I'm in a foul mood this week. I think, but I've got a bit of an issue again in that I find again this track a little bit too aggressive in the way it's been produced, and so for me, it's kind of suffering because the rest of the all of the intricacies of it are being pulled down by this bass and this distorted lead that are trying to make it epic, and they're trying too hard and they're swamping out the rest. And so, you know, I love a bit of gritty distortion, and I know they're trying to be a bit edgy with it and adding this kind of element of distortion to it, but I think it's been overdone again. And so the rest of the track suffers, and you get this very, I don't know about you guys, but it's very in your face. It's almost like you're gonna hear me. I am epic and I'm in your face, and it loses some of that subtlety that you need to round off a track like this. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not so was I a bit dramatic there? But I'm not so sold on this one. Just needs a bit of toning down in the production, me personally. It has potential, but a little bit noisy for me.
Yeah. Started
to get me hackles up.
Yeah. Prosecutor, your objection is sustained. Let's say the automation is way off. So here's what I wrote down just to remind myself of this. I dated this girl back in the day. The first night I slept over at her place, right? Her cat hopped up on the bed.
Which one?
I think
you better specify this, Judge.
Okay, so that one was already in bed, right? Her black cat with white stripes, the one with all four legs and everything, right? Hopped up.
Well, there's a novelty.
It started meowing in my fucking ear at 7 o'clock in the damn morning, man. And this was a Saturday, right? So I'm expecting to sleep in. I'm, no longer at work. I'm working construction at the time and everything like that. This is way prior to the surgery, right? And so this is the way that I feel about this song. Like that cymbal crash annoyed the shit out of me, man. That's all I could think about was that damn cat.
The cat had some cymbals.
And when she woke up,
there's this cat sitting there purring and going to wake you up.
It kind of seems like it, because I told her when she finally woke up, right? I told her, like, listen, your cat woke me up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and if it happens again, I'm punting this cat like a fucking football. Like,
happens for me every day.
Well, you love your cat. That's a different story. But see, once again, I'm sleeping in. But this is the thing that I was thinking. It's like, the automation is way off. I'm totally with Rob here. Is that the song is really way in your face. It's really, it kind of feels like the song, like, oh my God, this is awesome. We got to turn the volume up, right? And that's exactly what it was. So I appreciate the enthusiasm, right? But the whole thing is, no, turn the volume down.
Tone it down a bit.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Get the automation to where it's supposed to be, and kind of work with it from there. Like, listen, once again, these are not bad stats at all, even for a repost. 188 plays, 15 saves, 286 fire. I'm pretty sure a couple of more since we've listened to it, but but for me, it just really has that effect to it, where it's just it kind of seems like so obnoxious and in your face that you don't even really want to listen to it, because we're not even talking about the gated reverb here or anything that kind of like makes you dizzy. This is just, the volume is so turned up that it's just kind of like, it's annoying.
Well, it's interesting because my thought process was what you both said, except I was swayed by the fact that two things swayed me in my defense. I read all the comments, saw all the fire that it was getting and all the saves, and I thought, oh, maybe it's meant to be like that, and I'm just being a bit of a prude for thinking it was too much. And maybe that's a good thing because it's all big and epic and everyone's saying epic and all sorts of things. So that was one thing. And then I thought, well, I'm putting this up for a electronica special with two special electronica people, and and I was trying to impress you. I think I was trying to.
Where are they? I'm not sure they're here.
Depends which version of special I meant there.
Very true.
I didn't necessarily mean fantastic electronic people.
Right.
I may have done. But in my
It's
defense,
like, yeah, hey, you're
in my
special.
defense,
Here's some Olympics for you.
but in my defense, I mean, it was in your face, but it's kind of could do some refinement, but it's quite a blast, and it's certainly a sort of a rip-roaring end to the official show before we have the bonus track, which you may actually like and be pleased with.
Emphasis on blast, and
nice, I like it.
So Carlos's judgment will be coming up very shortly. Did he put together a shitty show, or was it just because there was shitty artists? Let us know in the comments below. I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette and reply to like 3 or 4 texts that I have here. So you fellas, let's take a quick recess. I'm not going to do the pen swipe or anything like that. So go to the bathroom, refill your drinks, whatever you may be. The sentencing will be coming up after the bonus tracks. So DJX Tech, Carlos Fandango, and Smart Monkey wishing you a pleasant break, which will be completely seamless to you, but it will take a while for us. But
well, I tell you what, Rob, should one of us do the something instead? Teaspoon thing.
Go on, you do it.
Go ahead.
I don't know what to do with the teaspoon. Actually, come to think of it,
Literally stick it up your arse.
So that won't work. Well, if I stick it on the nose, it won't even stick on my nose.
Stick it up your arse, and then we come back, pull it back out again.
Why the hell?
All right. Okay,
Why the hell would you be there? Like, should we do something with a teaspoon? If you're not prepared to offer any ideas.
All right, I'll think of something. All right, I'll tell you what, I'll
like,
put it in my pocket.
It's like, hey,
It'll be
Rob.
seamless for you because I'm putting it in my pocket. Watch.
Let's go on to Rob. You see that SpaceX rocket outside? You think we should do anything with that?
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah.
Of course, let's do something with it. The trial of the people of the United States, the United Kingdom, the People's Republic of China, Australia, and so on, versus Carlos Fandango shall commence, along with the Jedi Council, I guess.
I was only trying to put an electronica show together. That was all. I thought I was doing good. Judge Tom, I mean, isn't there a message from the Pet Shop Boys, you said?
Well, we're not going to do that one again.
Oh, sorry. Thought we'd have another crack at it.
No, my goodness, what? It wasn't funny enough the first time around.
Right. So,
sir, you have been accused of grievous crimes against music or something like that. What do you have to say for yourself with this last bonus track, as you claim it to be?
It's a bonus track, and I'm hoping to redeem any errors of judgment. I think, because at the end of the day, it's a very subjective thing. What somebody's meat is another person's poison. So I would say, the tracks all have their merits in certain ways, and it has all been electronica and synth. I didn't guarantee quality. I just said it's going to be electronica synth special. So this bonus track
doesn't sound very promising for this bonus.
If any harm has been done to any sensitive souls who are in electronica and specialize in it, then this may redeem the whole thing, because this is a very good track. I think, retro 80s synth. It's got all the elements of the sort of stuff you probably like.
Sonic Zone, Beating Hearts, electronic and synthwave is what this is marked as. Posted not but 7 days ago, 125 plays, 6 saves, 161 follows. Not bad stats. So Carlos's defense may be holding up at this point right here. Let's check it out. This is Sonic Zone with Beating Hearts. Check it out. Prosecutor Monkey.
I like Sonic Zone. I've heard other tracks from Sonic Zone, so I was quite pleasantly surprised to see this. Well, not surprised, happy. I was quite pleasantly happy to see this track in there. I don't know what it is about Sonic Zone and their music. It's it does remind me of that really retro vibe of like I want to say like gaming music, but hearing it again here now, it's more than that, really. Just listening to that one, that track. It could have been a bit shorter, in my personal opinion. Didn't have to be that long. But it had so much going on, and that guitar that's just sort of playing through, and towards the end where, you know, it's taking that sort of, I wouldn't say solo, but there isn't much else going on, to be fair. But well, that's doing it an injustice. There is a lot more going on, but you know, there is. It's not like everything else ducks out just because of that guitar, because it's playing all the way through anyway. But I just do. There's something about their music that I really, really like. They just capture that vibe and that feeling of the retro era, and they do it really. I say they, it could be he just on his own, but it's really, really good, and I really enjoyed that. And I was just bopping away here, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like that track. And actually, I know we were talking about whether volumes and things. I just heard it on the just put it on the other speakers just to make sure it sounded, and played it through Slaps Pure, and it sounded pretty solid on there. So yeah.
The defendant, last final argument.
Lester.
Yeah,
I didn't know you called Lester.
my last
defendant.
My last throw of the dice
whatever
is okay. So yeah, Rob's correct. It could be shorter. However, I think, I mean, for me, this is crying out for a lead vocal to be on it, and yeah, it would be really good. It wouldn't suffer for having a lead vocal. It could be that long if it's got a lead vocal and a chorus, and you know, more flavour in that sense. As it stands, yes, it could be shorter, that's for sure. But some of the sounds are in there are lovely. It's actually got a good ebb and flow, because it does have the stop section with the nice arps coming in. It feels like an end of film, or just to please, if it pleases the judge, movie. End of movie credits, and sort of from the 80s. It's got a very 85 to 87 production sound, that specific period, maybe 84 as well, but where it's the sort of polished synth production. So I like the theme as well with the guitar solo, the guitar tone and sound. It's awesome, really good. Lovely big drum sounds coming in here and there, but it's somewhere between 1142, Thompson Twins, Aztec Camera, and Toto as well with Africa. If you think of that, it's somewhere in there, or even U2 with the Daniel Lanois production sound. So it's a sort of mishmash of all those things. And I do think if it had something like a Bono type vocal, or 1142 vocal or something, Thompson Twins, it would work really well. So I do think it would be better, all the better for it. But I like it as it is. It's good. It's got a strong theme. It stays in your head. The tune stays in your head. It's a good melody as well. I think I feel like that's a strong rebuttal.
Okay. Well, the first thing that I thought about when the song kicked off was I don't remember if Kenny Loggins was. Did Kenny Loggins do the whole Top Gun soundtrack, or
I think he did, actually. Yes.
Did he just do the?
No, he did a song or two on it, I think.
Yeah,
the Highway to the Danger Zone, right? So it kind of reminded me of that, right? With the Top Gun theme song, but not the Top Gun theme song. the heavier portion of it, right, with the Danger Zone. But the soft one was
what the Kenny Loggins
track here.
that what?
Oh, I think you're going to do the whole thing.
he did the song. The opening song is Danger Zone, so it's actually Giorgio Moroder was one of the writers on it, and Kenny Loggins performed it. And the other Kenny Loggins track on there was Playing with the Boys.
Playing with, yeah, well, they had the volleyball scene and everything like that. No, but I'm talking about so we had Highway to the Danger Zone. That was Kenny Loggins, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was the one. But then we had the one which was the instrumental version, the one that I just so humbly kind of like right, I hummed out there. So it kind of reminds me of that. So I think that this song has a great spot in the 80s venue, where you could think of the Breakfast Club, for example, right? Or even if you take the groups into effect, then you could take somebody like AHA or
Alphaville might suit this sort of song.
well, I'm just saying, I was thinking Soft Cell as well, right? Because even Soft Cell with like Tainted Love, I mean, I really think that this has this nice kind of like 80s vibe to it. So I think that for all intents and purposes, this song really works with the synthwave. One of the biggest downfalls, as we've talked about throughout the evening, is the lack of lyrics. I think that lyrics would suit the song nicely. So that being said, still, if we can picture this being in these classic 80s movies, then I think we need to let Carlos Fandango off with a pass here. What say you, prosecutor?
Maybe just with a caution. I mean, I don't mind.
Yeah, caution, I think, to be fair. He's showing some dubious.
This thing's heavy, by the way.
There's some dubious characteristics throughout the show. So I do think we need to let him off with maybe a warning. And
don't do it again.
Don't do it again. No, to be fair though, come on, you haven't done half a bad job.
Oh no, it's at the end of the day, it's electronic and synth special, so it's going to have good, bad, the ugly, and most of it actually has been pretty okay, isn't it? It's good
talking, isn't it? And I like that. I like when we have a show that makes us talk amongst ourselves and bandy around like different perspectives on a song. And yeah, I think this show has been full of that, to be fair.
I do think this is a good point. Tom made is that what is deficient in the electronic synth and synthwave, retro synthwave market at the moment is it's lacking the great. You look at the artists in the past that were, okay, you had your instrumental artists like Jean-Michel Jarre, Vangelis Kitaro, Klaus Schulze, all those different people. You could put Kraftwerk in there, but they did have lyrics and things as well, albeit robotic voices. But you had, so most of the great music of the synth and electronic era has had vocals on it and has been a group generating vocals. So you've got, Gary Newman, Tubeway Army, Human League, OMD, Depeche Mode, Yazoo, Erasure, Alphaville, and the list goes on. Pet Shop Boys, we've mentioned AHA, and there's so many great synth artists. So, why is it so deficient now? Is it because everyone, people are just solo artists in their bedrooms creating the music, and it's just one person? I would say reach out to people on Slaps, get some vocals on some of those tracks that you're making, make them into a song, and they could be even more appealing. That's my advice.
Yeah, I think there's a genre of music out there where if you applied a vocal, it would then throw it out. So like synthwave, I feel like is almost like the reason that they want that music is that it's pure synth, and to put a vocal on it would almost like go, right, we don't want vocals on our synthwave kind of genre. But I know exactly what you're saying. So I don't know. I'd love to hear some of these tracks with it.
I'm about to hold you in contempt of court, sir.
Oh my word!
Wow, this is reversal of.
Gracious
Well, if it helps to know, Judge, Rob touched me here.
Well,
Right on the L.
well, not easy being a singer. It's not easy being a car mechanic. It's not easy being a host on the underground side. It's not easy being a judge on the underground side, for crying out loud. For today's episode, folks, that'll do it, though. I am DJ X Tech. With me, as always, is Carlos Fandango and a gentleman that calls himself Smart Monkey. Together, we are putting us back into the music.
So please do like, subscribe, and share, and we'll find the music that you love to hear.
And don't forget to press the little bell so you get all the notifications whenever Tom uploads the new Underground Sound videos.
That's right, folks. And as always, visit the video description below or the podcast description below, depending on where YouTube takes us with our whole adventure, our adventurous time with Google and YouTube. Ha ha ha. We're so happy about that. So if you're listening to us on a podcast, it will be in the podcast description below. If you're listening to us on YouTube, it will be in the YouTube description below. If you are on our website, then I'm going to set up a special page to go to the different episodes and who was featured and so forth. So that way we do not lose track of any of these fantastic musicians and artists for today, which is the day of recording, February 10th. 2023. I'm DJ X Tech signing off. See you later.
See you later, folks. Don't be a stranger.
Goodbye.